My name is Captain Olimar. 10 years ago today, I crash-landed on a planet known as PNF 404. Of course I managed to escape, but I have visited the planet a couple times after that. Since then, I've documented all my adventures here, and I'd like to share them with you. Allow me to introduce to you the Pikmin Journal. When I first crashed onto this planet 10 years ago, 30 vital pieces of the ship scattered across the planet. I had 1 month's worth of life support, so I had 30 days to get 30 parts. That task proved to be impossible to do it on my own. But that's when I came across strange alien creatures which I called the Pikmin. I named them after a brand of carrots called Pick carrots, which they awfully resemble. Without them, I would have died on this planet, so I'm going to dedicate this log specifically to them and everything about them. So let's get started. Let's start things off with the first Pikmin type I was introduced to, the red Pikmin. The first thing you'll notice is that they're the only Pikmin type with a nose. It's quite odd because they don't have any other advantages over the other Pikmin that involve smelling. They're also slightly stronger than the other Pikmin types. The red Pikmin type also seems to be much more energetic and athletic than the others. They're very adventurous, which unfortunately also gets them in a lot of sticky situations, which often leads them to their death. I mean often. Now, the most notable part of the red Pikmin is their resistance to fire. Allow me to demonstrate. Other Pikmin, however, are not resistant. As you might have noticed, the yellow Pikmin have giant ears. Strangely enough, this doesn't actually have to do anything with their sense of hearing. The first thing I noticed about these strange guys is that they're actually much lighter than the other Pikmin types, meaning they can reach higher places when thrown. They also seem far more affectionate than other Pikmin types. Either that or they just hate Louie. As said, they're quite friendly and they're a bit curious too, but I think they're also smarter than the average Pikmin. I usually only ever find the yellow Pikmin in trees or dark areas. I assume they usually do this to avoid prey, and I'm sure the yellow Pikmin being the second most common type has something to do with that. They're also immune to the most dangerous hazard on the planet. Electricity. Oddly enough, they're also quite good at digging, and the only Pikmin that is able to hold bomb rocks. But other types are glad they don't have to hold them, because as you could have guessed, they explode. Blue Pikmin were always especially interesting to me. I barely see them anywhere, and they're quite reserved and very quiet. They're usually hidden away in bushes, rivers, or even lakes. They are especially fond of water. That's because they're the only Pikmin type who can actually survive in it and swim in it. Every other Pikmin type I've seen cannot swim in water. On some of my trips, I don't even find the blue Pikmin. One time, I couldn't find them for many years, and I thought they were extinct until I spotted them alone again near a river. I can barely find them in the wild anymore, let alone in groups. With their help, I managed to get some ship parts that were submerged or across lakes or rivers. They've evolved to stay hidden, similar to the yellow Pikmin, and of course, harsh climates. I used to believe that big slit on their face was a gill, but it's actually their mouth, strangely enough. I have no idea why they're the only Pikmin with a mouth. Maybe it does help them breathe underwater. It's not like other Pikmin need mouths, they simply absorb nectar and nutrients to survive. That's what their flower is for, after all. They are definitely one of the stranger Pikmin types I've seen. I just hope they won't go extinct without my help. White Pikmin are aggressive little creatures that live inside caves. strange underground dungeons filled with monsters and other weird treasures. Me and Louie usually go exploring in them, where we find the violet and ivory candy pop buds. I don't know much about these things. One thing I do know, however, is that for some reason, when a Pikmin is thrown into the candy pop bud, they will change their typing. Anyways, back to the white Pikmin, or as I like to call them, the albino Pikmin. They don't appear often in the wild, usually only ever appearing through candy pop buds, so it's always a treat to see them in the wild. They have numerous abilities, one of the most interesting being their X-ray vision. I'm guessing it has something to do with their strange red eyes. This ability actually lets them see underground and dig up treasures that no other Pikmin can see. They're also faster than other Pikmin, good for collecting treasure, of course. And they're completely immune to radiation, toxins, or gas. Unlike the other Pikmin, of course. And Louie. This has to be the most interesting ability, though. Just watch. White Pikmin are poisonous. Their last act of revenge. Something Louie is not a fan of. Trust me, he tried. You okay there, Louie?
Louie.
As mentioned earlier, white Pikmin are not a fan of other Pikmin types. They're not especially friendly. Strangely enough, they're very affectionate to the purple Pikmin. Another Pikmin type only found in caves that comes from the violet candy pop bud. As mentioned earlier, the purple Pikmin also come from caves and are found through the violet candy pop bud. However, they're slightly more friendly than the white Pikmin and enjoy being outside more than them. They might be slower than your average Pikmin, but they're very hardworking. Unfortunately, they're also a bit clumsy and trip a lot. Maybe due to their tiny legs. When they jump, they actually shake the ground, which can stun enemies and slam onto them for powerful attacks. Their most interesting feature has to be that they're actually 10 times stronger than your average Pikmin, meaning they can carry 10 times more than your average Pikmin. This, of course, is impossible for other Pikmin. Now that we checked below the surface, let's see what's in the sky. These are the only flying Pikmin that I know of. They're usually only ever flying, and I barely see them take breaks to pause. They're always flying to avoid other strange creatures, and when they're taking a break, they're usually high up on a leaf so animals can't get them. They're always moving, so it's difficult to get them on camera, which I apologize for. Even though they move hectically, they're very gentle and almost fairy-like creatures. They're only ever seen during warm days in the sun or near a river. However, this can be a big drawback, because if they fall into water, their wings will be unable to function and they can't fly. They're very reliant on flying, and if they can't, they're weak and vulnerable to predators. They can still be helpful though, getting things across rivers and such. Overall, very nice and gentle Pikmin who are also very helpful to others, especially when it comes to carrying Pikmin. These are definitely one of the most interesting looking Pikmin. They don't have a lot of abilities, but they're definitely strange looking. Living rocks? How peculiar. I don't really understand these and how they even work, but here they are, rock Pikmin. They're similar to the purple Pikmin in many ways, but they're less hardworking. Due to their rocky texture and nasty taste, as said by Louie, they're the least eaten Pikmin. That doesn't mean they can't be eaten, but they have to worry about hiding less than other Pikmin, and have become lazy over time. I usually just spot them everywhere, just lying on the ground and enjoying life. Don't let their laziness fool you. They can still pack a punch and leave cracks in the ground. They can shatter crystals by running into them, and they're immune to being crushed, an ability most Pikmin can only dream of. Most Pikmin will attack an enemy by latching onto it and whacking it with their stem. Rock Pikmin can't latch onto things, so they work a little differently, throwing their entire body at an enemy. They're the most common Pikmin type and can be found practically anywhere. But just because they're lazy, they're certainly not useless. No Pikmin type is. Before I go, I need to show you the onion, the nest of the Pikmin. It's where they all live inside, and each Pikmin type has their respective onion. The onions can also fuse to create a master onion where all Pikmin can live inside. Strangely enough, purple and white Pikmin don't have onions. They're the only Pikmin I've discovered that don't have them. The onion isn't just the home of the Pikmin, but it's actually how they reproduce. You see, when the onion picks up nutrients from a pellet or a corpse, they can actually use that energy to create a new Pikmin. This is how the Pikmin is born. There's still many things left to explore, but for now, I'll keep this log closed. I wish all of you a good evening and goodbye. Tune in for more.